Hello and welcome to a Lucky Lock Ease L1 installation video. Today we will guide you through the step-by-step process of installing and setting up your new Ease L1 smart lock. Let's get started. So before we begin, we need to make sure you have the following tools and materials ready for installation. We have the Lucky Lock Ease L1 of course, and I'm pulling out of the package the manual, as you can see here. And then we're going to go ahead and bring out the stencil and the size reference card. We need a pencil, chiseling tools, a PH2 screwdriver, and of course the lock itself. Here I am showing the lock with its cover. Please don't remove the cover until you've finished installing the lock. And then we have also the front part of it with the keypad, again with a couple of protective stickers and this sleeve to protect the lock. We also have the battery middle mold, which we'll be installing later in concerto with the front part of the lock. And we have also the package, which includes a few other accessories like the latch here. Then we also have the keys. We'll have 2 physical keys, and we also have the screws. Then I'll show you the key cards, 2 epoxy key tags for contactless card reading. So we have on each screws, a step 2 screw set, a step 3.1 screw set, a step 3.2 screw set, step 4 screw set, and a screw set for step 6. Finally, we have some spare screws in case you lose a few, or some accidentally aren't included in the package. And at the end of the setup process, you'd want to have 4 AA batteries as well as a smartphone, Android or iOS. And just as a quick overview, we're going to see all of the parts laid out here so you can see things in a bit more detail. So let's start by preparing the door for the Ease L1 installation. Ensure the door is clean and free of any obstructions, and remove the existing lock if necessary. So we'll take the template. The lock requires a hole of 54mm to be cut out. The latch may be adjusted with a variable backset of 60 to 70mm, and you'd want to check your door's dimension by using a tape measure. Then you can position the Ease L1 lock on the door, ensuring that it aligns properly with the existing lock hole. You may want to use a leveling app or an actual level to help you make sure that the Ease L1 is aligned properly with the door frame. So we'll take the latch and we'll install it by marking the outline of the plate and taking out the latch, chiseling a 1 to 2mm deep groove along the outline to allow the plate to be aligned with the door edge, and then attaching the latch with the provided wood screws. Now, if you want to change the orientation of the latch, that's easy. Just flip the latch over and install it in the correct direction. Since our direction is actually going to be the reverse of that, we're going to reverse this latch. Here we have a metal frame, so we'll be using M4 machine screws, but the process is the same with wood screws either way. And we'll move on from here, giving ourselves a thumbs up just to encourage ourselves. We'll take the screws out of the step 2 screw packet, which I'm showing off over here, and I'll be reaching in and grabbing the wood screws and then realizing we actually have a metal door. So with a metal door, you'll need machine screws, and I'll just reseal this packet and put it away. Now that I'm back with some movie magic, I've gotten the machine screws required, and I'm going to fix the latch to the door frame. As you can see, you can use your PH2 screwdriver. You won't need a drill or an electric screwdriver, although those can be used provided you don't put too much torque on these screws. It is easy to strip out a metal frame, of course. And then you just install these by tightening those screws to the latch, which is affixing it to the door frame. And once you're done with that, the latch is installed. Give it a little twist just to make sure, and then admire your work. Okay, so moving on to step 3.1, we're going to take the screw from there and the lock body from the front lock body, and as you can see, there is a small screw hole on the bottom there. So this is where the set screw will go, and this is how you would mount it through the latch. Make sure that the handle is in the correct direction. You can see that I am flipping it both left and right, and that depends on the orientation of how you are installing the lock. So we'll take the front lock body and we'll install the set screw into the set screw holes, as I'm showing you here on the bottom of the front lock. So we'll take the front lock, make sure that the handle is horizontal and in the correct direction as we are installing the set screw, and then we will install the set screw in the same direction as the lock handle. So you can see here that the lock handle is pointing towards the right, and I'm installing the set screw on the right. It's the same direction as the handle in this case. So once it's installed, I give it a test to see if it will move upwards, which it does not, which indicates that it is correctly installed. Now we move on to step 3.2, where we get the rear lock housing, which I'm going to set the front housing off to the side and bring the rear housing over here. And we're going to do the same thing. You can see that the handle is reversible. You will want to make sure that the handle is pointing in the right direction, and you will want to make sure that the set screw is actually situated on the opposite side of where the handle is. So make sure the handle again is held in the horizontal position. Take the set screw and then you install it in the correct hole to set the lock handle in this particular direction, or your preferred direction. So once it's installed, again, you only need a PH2 screwdriver for both of these. PH2 meaning Phillips, Phillips number 2 screwdriver, and make sure that it is firm and tight, but not overly too tight, just enough so that the set screw is seated in the set screw mount. And I'll give it a little test, and you can see if there's some spring tension both left, up and down, you'll be able to see it come back, and that means that it is correctly installed. So we'll just make sure that it's hand tightened and there's no additional resistance, and then we'll go ahead with the next stage of the installation. So for step 4 and 5, we're going to take the front lock body, as you can see here, and you can see that there are 3 mounting standoff screw holes. So those standoffs actually go through the latch. There's 2 holes in the latch to align it, with the third hole actually pointing above. We're going to take the cable and we're going to move it over the latch, making sure that it isn't pinched at any point in time. And then we're going to position the front lock body in the mounting hole. Once we have that, we have the middle battery plate that we're going to use in concerto with the front lock. We'll take the cable, and it's a little bit fiddly with my two hands kind of holding each of those lock bodies. You can relax the other hand and try and fit it in through the hole. Make sure it's in through the cable hole, which is on the top right of the middle mold. And we'll take the cables and we'll connect them together. They can only connect in one direction, so make sure that the latch is fitted properly when you're connecting those two cable components. The excess cable can be tucked away behind inside of the door cavity. So you can just push it back through the hole in the top right of the middle mounting bracket to make sure that it's not in the way. And then when you can see that there are those 3 mounting screw holes and off from the standoff, you take the step 4 screws, and depending on the size of your door, on the thickness of your door actually, these screws come in 2 sets. So you have the longer screws for mounting for a thicker door, and then you have the shorter of the 2 screws for mounting slightly thinner doors. So we'll take the shorter screws in this case, and we'll start mounting the bracket, or the middle mount bracket, to the front lock. It's a little hard to see from this angle, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip over and show you the 3 mounting holes, so you can see that there's 3 on the back in the middle mounting plate, and getting these screws in is a little bit fiddly, so it may require some hand tightening to first get those screws in, and just be patient, no need to rush. Just find the angle and find the standoff mounts and fit those screws into those standoff mounts by hand. And with those of them now in place, you can see that it's a little bit loose, but we'll tighten the rest of the way with a screwdriver, just making sure that you can see through this angle. So make sure that you get your PH2 screwdriver and drive those screws all the way in so that it is fairly tight. And because this is an IP rated lock, you have a rubber grommet ring that forms around the outside, which is a bit of a barrier, and that will compress slightly when you tighten these screws. So it is a good idea to hand tighten the screws, 1 each on each side, and then when you see that there is a screw loose on one of these holes, then you go back and you hand tighten that screw as you come around. So you may have to do this probably 2 or 3 times just to make sure that the middle mounting bracket is firmly affixed to the front door lock and that there's no excessive movement between the two. This just prevents the lock from being moved around and also prevents gaps for the weatherproof sealing so that you don't have any liquid seeping into the lock and causing any damage to the electronics or the componentry on the inside, since this is a smart lock. And as you can see, the screws are countersunk and flush with the enclosure, so you can move on to the next step. Okay, for step 5, the back panel installation, we're going to grab the back panel as I'm showing over here. That's the rear housing that we've been using the set screw on. So we'll take the rear housing, and as you notice, there is a square peg hole mount. Make sure it is horizontal and aligned, and simply slide it on. Now you want to take off the back battery cover because this will reveal the mounting holes which we'll be using in order to affix the rear housing onto the middle mounting bracket. The last step, which is step 6, is to take these step 6 screws and As you can see that they're coated black, so they blend in nicely into the enclosure. You'll take those screws and you'll fit those 3 screws into the rear housing. As you can see, I have a bit of clumsy fingers right now, but once those screws are in, you can take your PH2 trusty screwdriver and drive those screws in. So while I'm fiddling around with the rear housing screws, I think it's a great time to talk about some of the features of the lock. Now, the lock has 4 different ways to access the lock. You have a fingerprint, you have the keypad, you have the contactless tags, and you also have the physical keys. My preference is to use the fingerprint because it's so easy and accessible, but it is ultimately up to you however you want to use the lock. Now that we're getting to the final stage, we have the 4 AA batteries which we'll be installing. These are alkaline, which we recommend, and they have a different voltage chemistry to rechargeable batteries. Therefore, we don't recommend rechargeable batteries because it'll give you a false indication of the battery level for the lock. Finally, after they're installed, I'll just show you that there is a reset hole located on the top of the rear housing in that little pinhole there, and you can get a sim pin or a toothpick to activate that reset pin. We'll slide on the battery cover just for the aesthetics, but you'll probably have to take it off for the setup process, and I'm just showing off the lock in its glory. Okay, now let's get the lock set up. So we'll take off the battery cover and get ourselves a sim pin or a paper clip or a toothpick, and we'll press that reset button. And once that reset button is pressed, the lock will turn itself on and you'll see the keypad turn on. Press #8 and # and it will enter the setup process.